Okay, let's get started. Welcome to Back to Basics, Art Impressions Back to Basics with me. Today we are going to be doing the truck, and that's gonna be this little guy. Isn't this cute? Hi, Linda. Hello. Hello, Georgia. Thank you for the stars. Hi, Cindy. Hi, everyone. So we're gonna be doing the truck today, and I don't know if you can get a good look at that guy. It's so cute. It's so fun. You can color the truck in so many different ways, and you know, I've seen people do it in like a really pretty like sepia or sepia tone. I've seen browns, like a rusted out with patina. I've seen a red truck. I've seen all kinds of trucks. And I've seen a seafoam green truck, which is so cute, and I forget who did it. But these are so much fun. And the biggest thing that you need to remember with the truck is where your highlights go. And we're going to be definitely talking about that today. And so the sets that I will be using, Keely, the truck is still on my wish list. It's so good. I know. I love it. I love the truck. The truck is really fun, and it comes with a little barn too. So number 5011 watercolor truck mini set. And that's the little barn it comes with, and then this fence, which is so cute. Hi, Jane. Good to see you. So glad you're here. And then I'm also going to use that teeny tiny grass. Okay. And I'm also using this little mini watercolor flower set right here. And then also these three little stamps in the center right there. So that is watercolor foliage set 3. If you don't have that one, it's totally fine. Just use your normal grass and use a little vine if you want to, okay? So I am going to flip around and we're gonna get started, okay? 1 second. Okay, so let me just get my camera set up as usual. Okay. So as you can see, we're gonna make this little truck today. Keely, is your hair a different color? It is just done. So I just did my hair the other day, and sometimes when I first do it, the tone is a little bit more on the gray side. So it is a different tone, but it will kind of wash out and be more beige. Why aren't the supply lists up on your blog? Laura, we're planning to. We're kind of going through some transitions with the supplies and how best to do it. So we will definitely be, we have been reevaluating that. So we'll let you know. Mary, your brother's painting is amazing. So much talent in your family. Thank you. I know. I love to brag about my siblings. I think they are so very talented. For those of you that have taken a class with my sister or have seen some of her tutorials, she's also very super artistic, super creative, and she has a very unique style as well. So Keely, yes, you were right on, girl. It does look a little bit grayish. Yep, it always kind of looks like that in the beginning. Okay, so we are going to get out our Canson watercolor paper, and I'm going to be using this smooth side today. I've been using the smooth side quite a bit lately, and I really like how the colors blend together. I like how the impression comes out a little bit more clear, but I also will go through phases when I'm like, I want it more loose. I want the image to be more loose and to miss some of the lines. So if that's the case for you, just grab that textured side, okay? So we're gonna take our truck, and as per usual, we're going to ink the truck with 969 and 565. So this is the common gray mix that we like to use. And this is really, oh, am I getting a timeout here? For any kind of a nice base. I like to use it for anything metal or any sort of vessel, pot, cart, any of that stuff, okay? Linda, the paper is, you know, it's right in between. It's not like pure white and it's not yellow creamy. It's actually a really nice, just kind of a off-white, but just barely. It's pretty white. Like this is white, the packaging. By the way, next week we're doing the Southwest set. So for those of you excited about next week, we're doing Southwest, okay? But this is white, and you can see right next to it is the watercolor paper. So it's pretty white, but it does have just a tinge of cream in it, but not so much that you can't put it on a white cardstock. You totally could. Okay, so good question. All right, I'm gonna go 969 first. Okay, 969 first. And then I'm gonna take that 565 and I'm gonna go right over the top of that 969. Okay, and I do want to stamp this off once. So I'll just stamp it on the back of the card I just did. So I'm gonna stamp that off once. I'm gonna give it just a tiny little huff so I don't lose anything. And then I'm going to stamp that right onto my paper. Okay, I have both and love the Southwest sets from Canada. Yay, Jerry, that's awesome. Fantastic. I love to hear it. Okay, so I'm gonna zoom in because the most important part of the truck is where your shadows are and where your highlights are, okay? So as always, if you're just getting your brush out, make sure you get your water and you open up those bristles. See all that air coming out? There's so much air and bubbles coming out of, I don't even know if you can see it on screen there, but so many bubbles come out of this brush. Even if I just leave it for 10 minutes, it's pretty dry once I come back to it. So you really want to open up those bristles, let the air out so that you can get a really nice consistency through your brush, okay? All right, looks like my camera's focusing on the water, so I'm gonna move that out. And then I am going to talk about the shadows and the highlights on this truck, okay? So anytime you have a dome, which there's a lot of domes on this truck, and I guess not tons, but there's several. So there's a dome here, right? So here's a dome, here's a dome, here's a dome, and then here's a dome, right? So anytime they curve like that, anytime you have a dome, it is going to be highlighted on top, okay? So you're gonna have the highlight on top. So anytime we do, so for example, if you look at this, here's this dome, the shadows are actually on the sides and then at the top it's highlighted, right? Do you see that? So same thing on the hood here, same thing on the top. So on all of the top of these domes, I have a highlight. Do you see that? So, and then anytime you have a, anytime something is concave or convex, so if it's like a pot, you want to make sure your highlight is in the center. So if I were to, let's just look at this Southwest seam. So this is concave or convex. So your highlight is going to be in the center and then your shadows are going to be on the outside like this because this is not a dome, right? This is concave. So if you were going to color this, your dark would be on the sides and then the highlight would be in the center. But because we have mostly domes here, we're going to highlight on the top, okay? So I'm going to take my brush and I'm just going to start placing in very lightly some of the areas where I'm going to have a shadow. So I'm just going to grab color from the edges like we do, And I'm going to just pull that color out, making sure that I'm leaving the top of this truck, the top of this dome, highlighted. So I'm not going to take my color all the way up. Same thing here. This is going to be darker, and then as I come up, it's going to be lighter. And it doesn't have to be perfect. You don't have to blend this in super perfectly. It doesn't have to be, you know, the exact amount of highlights. So just make sure you have a decent highlight right on top of that dome, okay? It doesn't have to be huge, just make sure it's there. And then same thing here. This is another dome on the top. So notice I'm going section by section by section, and I'm just looking at these in small sections instead of looking at the big truck. Oh no, where am I going to put my highlights? I'm going to cut this up and look at just small sections because I can tackle it so much easier if I do that. Barbara says, those highlights are great, so large and distinct. I just make skinny highlights on this truck. Love the larger white spaces. Thanks. Absolutely, Barbara. Absolutely. You know, you can make your highlights however you want to. Small, skinny highlights are not wrong. As long as you have them, that's what I'm excited about, is that you have them there. That's really, really good. Okay, so I just put in a little bit of color on my hood, leaving that top dome highlighted, right? Okay, so now let's go in and add some shadows to places that we know would be dark, okay? So if the sun is shining down, I am going to have this little lip right here, right under that lip is going to be shadowed in. So right under here, right under this lip is going to have a little shadow in here. Right under there. Okay. Lindy, I love this truck too. It's so cute. You can do so much with it. You can put a little barn in the background. You can put a lake and a boat. You can do all kinds of things. These are little indents, so I'm going to add a bit of a shadow there. Under here, we'll have a little shadow. So this can be dark here. Same thing with the step. The step can be a little bit darker. On the door, this is flat, but it is kind of part of this dome. So you can look at the door as part of this big dome right here. Okay, so we can add some color just to the side of this. I wouldn't add it, you know, in heavy, but I would add some color to this door. Okay. Now underneath these, I think these are fenders. So underneath this, or wheel wells, what are these, fenders or wheel wells? Am I having a moment? Hi, Renee. Good evening, everyone. I love this truck. My stepdad is a retired Ford dealership owner and loves vintage trucks like this. Oh, that's so cool. Well, Renee, you're going to have to get out your watercolors, girl, and paint him something with it. Renee is one of my design team, not my design team members, our design team members. She's one of our beloved design team members, and she is extremely, extremely talented. I love everything she does. Okay. Oh, good. Thank you, Heather. I'm like, I think I'm having a moment here. Okay, so I'm going to put in a nice, strong shadow in the wheel wells here. Okay. Yes, Elizabeth. She says, I see a Christmas tree hanging over the edge of that truck. Absolutely. How cute would that be? 100%. Okay, I'm going to put a tiny little shadow up in here. Okay, just a little one on this wheel. Now we have shadow on shadow on shadow, so make sure that the shadow under the wheel well or fender is going to be darker. Okay, so we will darken that up in time. But for now, we're just putting in our base color here just to give us a nice outline of kind of where we're planning to go with these shadows. Maybe I'll bring just a bit more out here. Okay. All right. So now I am going to put some color into this truck. And because I've already laid the groundwork, adding color is really, really simple. So I'm going to use number 526, but you can use any color you want to. This would be really cute in like a turquoise or like I was saying, kind of a rusty brown or, you know, a red. If you do red, make sure you stamp it in Stays On first, because red is generally it's not heavy enough to hold its own in the outline. So you really need a strong outline. Okay, let's see. Okay, so 526. And you could mix this with another color if you wanted to. If you wanted to make it a little bit more gray, you could add, if you wanted to add some 969 to that, this would be really nice. So if you took a little bit of that 969 and you mixed it in, just a little bit in here, it adds a little bit of that earthy tone to that blue. And I can show you sort of the difference here. I do this a lot with this blue. So this is your normal 526, which is a really nice, bright, beautiful light blue. And then the 969, when you add to it, it just makes it a little bit more earthy. Do you see that? Isn't that nice? So you could totally do that on your truck. I think it would look really cool if you have it a little bit more earthy like that, like it's kind of been sitting out for a while. You could totally do something like that. Just an idea. Okay. So I'm just going to use the 526 and just make it really simple for us, okay? So I'm going to take that blue and I am going to go over the areas that I have laid out for myself here. So I'm going to add some blue to this fender here. Of course, the darker blue is going to be on the bottom, right down there. You can drop it in like I just did and kind of do it, you know, drop it in just very softly, or you can wash it in however you want to, okay? Whatever's comfortable. A lot of this is just really about what makes you comfortable. A lot of people really like to wash this in. They like to have a really solid highlight area and a really solid shadow area. And that's absolutely fine too. This is about you discovering who you are and what your style is. This is just us giving you techniques to, you know, have fun with and to support who you are as an artist, so that you can find, you know, your style really comfortably, and also so that when you look at your work, you're really happy with it. Okay. So I'm going to take, again, that 526 and just drop a little bit in here, a little bit in the door. Notice I'm still leaving highlights, even though I am putting this color in. We know even with highlights that this truck is blue. Like there's no question that this is a blue truck at this point, right? So we don't have to fill in every area and flatten this down. It makes it look a lot more three-dimensional when you leave some light areas, okay? So I'm going to just very lightly drop some of that blue in there. And then I want a really nice dark blue right under this lip. Okay. Kimberly Ann, we need a sunset sky. I agree. Let me know when you are going to film that. I would love to see that. And you know what? I did a sunset sky with the Southwest set, and it is on YouTube if you're interested. But I would love to see another one from Kimberly Ann. That would be awesome. Okay, so I'm going to do a little bit more of this blue right in here. Okay. leaving a highlight on top, right? We want to leave this nice highlight on top where nothing is up there. It's just white. She's laughing. Okay. So just going to deepen up these areas over here. Oops, we need to do the back. We can't forget that. You know what, I do that a lot. I forget, you know, little sections. Okay, Kimberly will take that challenge. Excellent! You guys have been trying to get her to do more videos, more lives. She does have 2 little ones, so we can't get her all the time, but when we get her, we love it. Okay, now I'm gonna take number 565. So I'm just going to take 565 and try to stay zoomed in here so you can see this. 565. And remember, our initial color was a mixture of the 565 and the 969. I am going to just mix these and get that same gray that I had when I first stamped down this image, okay? So 565 and 969, so you can see I've got a really nice gray here. I'm gonna use that to deepen the area under my wheels, the wheel wells. So I'm just gonna get that nice and dark in there. I will probably have to mix more of a solid gray to really get the depth that I want. Do you see how when you layer that, you can get that nice dark color? And I'll still go in there with my twin tone and deepen that up even more, okay? I do want to use this gray for this little area in here. And I can even grab some of the color that's in the lines. Okay. A little bit more. So some of this just takes a little bit of patience because the color needs to dry before you can layer in again. So before you try to keep layering and layering, make sure that the previous time you're dry. Otherwise, it's just not going to do anything. Okay, so I need to make sure that that's, you know, nice and dry here. We can add a little bit of a shadow under here, right on the top of the wheel. But we don't want to shade in that wheel too much, okay? I know Heather, she says, I love how your eyes fill in the spaces. They do. It's one of those things that I heard many years ago about highlights in art is, you know, our brains are brains of completeness. And so in order to make things complete and organized, it will just fill it in. We know that this truck doesn't have white spots all over it, right? We know that it's just blue and it has highlights in it because our brains make it so. All right, so now I'm going to take my palette away, use my twin tone, and I'm going to put some contrast in here. So I'm going to darken up that light. Okay. And I'll put a little bit of a contrast here in the wheel. And then there's some little, I think these are probably little bolts. There's a light right here. You can deepen that, darken that up right there. I like to just do a little one right in the window. And then I am going to deepen this area in here quite a bit more. We want this to be really dark in here. So this is all going to be dark. Really, really dark. I mean, this is like, there is no light coming down in here. You can, yes, Heather, lug nuts. Yes. Thank you. Thank you so much. When I'm doing the when I'm preparing for a Back to Basics, I'll just kind of make the thing. And then I don't really think about what I'm painting until I'm talking to you guys. And then I'm like, oh wait, what is that called? So thank you. Oops, am I on screen here? I just twisted this just so I could get a better feel for that, or more ergonomic line there, okay? I love the contrast so much. No, you didn't, Heather. Heather worked on a pit crew for a race car. Oh my gosh! That is cool. That's super cool. Oh my goodness. That's a really neat experience. I love that. Thank you for sharing. That's cool. Okay, so now we have our shadows and our highlights in. So do you guys see again how we have at the top of the dome, we have those highlights, right? And then, you know, this big dome, we're able to add some color here, add some color to the sides, but on the domes here, that's where our highlight is, okay? All right, maybe I'll just zoom in just a teeny bit more here. Okay, so when we fill this in, we want to grab just a Post-it note. I have a really bright pink one here. And the most important thing about this is that you want to put the edge of the Post-it note right to the edge of this truck, right there, okay? And when we do that, we know where the truck ends. If we don't do that, we could very, very easily stamp right over the edge of the truck and not even realize it, okay? But when we put that right on the edge, then you know exactly where your flowers can go. So this is the range of where I can put my flowers. All right? So I'm going to take that really cute flower from the mini flower set, this one. This really, really cute flower. I love this because it already has a grass on it, so it makes it really, really simple to just stamp into things like the truck or, you know, a little cart or whatever, a pot, whatever you want to stamp it in, okay? And I'm going to use number 856, which is this really pretty red. I was going to do a pink today, and then I'm like, I love this blue and the red together. So I opted for the red, but you could easily do purple. You could do no flowers. You could just do foliage if you wanted. You can do blue. I just love this red. Okay. And then I'm also using 177, which is the olive green. So I'm just going to ink the base of this flower in the green. And then I already know where I can stamp this flower, so I'm just gonna go to it and have fun getting this in. And it's okay if some of this is light, because we can use that for the background of the flowers to make this look really, really dense. Like there's a lot of flowers in this load, okay? And then we can re-ink. And I'm inking the top with the red, and then the grass is going to be green. And then I'm going to come back in and just stamp some of these. And maybe I just want more of this red. So maybe I just want a few more red flowers in here. Okay, so when I take this off, now my flowers look like they're in the truck, and because I put the corner right at the corner of the truck, my flowers did not go beyond where they should have. Okay. So I'm going to take my brush and I am just going to begin to dab this. So I'll start back here and just kind of haze some of these flowers out. You don't need a lot of water on this. It's such a beautiful red that it just spreads so nice. It's super bright. Okay. And I'll just bring some of this red right out here. And I really like the way that this red blends with that blue, and also this green is really nice with it. So when you have grass underneath like this, especially when the red is the complement of green, right? If these mix too much, you are certainly getting brown, right? So we really want to make sure that we keep this green in its lane. We don't want to mix this red too much with this green because we'll get brown. All right. Now I'm going to take the, this little, what is this, a little sprig. It's so cute. And actually, is this dry for me to do this? Yep, everything dries pretty fast. So same color, 177. And I'm just going to ink this sprig and just put a few of these little guys in here. Isn't that cute? I love this sprig so much. This is in the foliage set 3. And you can just put these wherever you want to in the truck. And maybe you want a few more over in here. You can totally put as many as you want. And I'll just very lightly add just a bit of water. These don't need much. Okay. They are hauling a really great load here. Okay. I know, I love this sprig. It's so cute. That's this one right here. So if you don't have foliage set 3, this is a really good one, and you're looking for more foliage, I love this set. This is beautiful. Okay, in that same set, I'm going to start with the grass, and I'm going to, Jerry, if you don't have that stamp, any recommendations? You know, I would just use your vine, just your regular vine from, if you have stamp set 1 or foliage set 1, I would just ink just this little part up here and just use that instead of the sprig. That's what I would do. Okay, now I'm going to take this grass and just use that same green. Okay, I am using Margine. Am I pronouncing that right? Margine. I am using Tombow water-based markers. So these are Tombows. They're the dual tip. So I'm using the bullet tip, but they also have this really tiny tip at the other side that you can also use. Okay. All right. Ooh, Diane, I love that idea. Ooh, I love that idea. I'm gonna write that down. Diane says, hint, hint, I would love to see a new AI stamp set that has items sized to fit in the truck bed. Great idea. I will pass that along. I love it. Okay, so it doesn't matter if these come down far because you're gonna put your little baby grass in anyway, so don't worry about it. If you feel like, oh no, that's too far down, it's fine. Okay. And then I'm also going to, oops, this one fell off. I'm gonna do the other side and we'll just put some grass in here. Ah, I'm losing my stamp. So if that happens, you can just get a little wet wipe. We'll see if this one has any in it. It does, I have one left in here. So you can get a little wet wipe and just wipe off the back of your stamp. Sometimes you just get a little bit of dust on here, and then it is good to go once it's dry. So I'm just going to dry this off, and now it is absolutely good to go. It's not going to go anywhere. It was falling off without even doing anything, and now we're good. Okay, so if that happens, it's just as easy as getting a little wet wipe. And actually, my little teeny tiny grass might need a little wipe off too. Okay, I'm gonna take that teeny tiny grass. Now, same color, and I'm gonna just ink that. And I'm gonna put this right at the base. Just like so. Okay, and give that little truck a place to sit. Okay, now we're gonna take our brush and we're just going to begin to pull out the grass. I'm not even gonna touch those tall grass. I'm just gonna let them be wispy and just live their best life as is. Okay, I'm just going to bring a little bit of this grass out, just a touch. We'll set up the shadow in there. Okay. Now I am going to grab that same 565 and we're gonna put some shadows in the ground and just a little bit more on the truck. And I like to come back in with that 565, especially when I'm doing a lighter colored truck like this, because as you can see, it just deepens it up just a little bit more in some of these areas. If you use that 565, can you see the difference? It just deepens it up just a little bit more, okay? So 565, and I like to come back in after because it's nice and dry. There's no question about whether this is gonna run or anything like that. We know that it's dry. Okay, so I'm just going to bring in just some of this 565. Even if you get some of the grass, it's actually really nice, this green, to blend in with it. It's fine, don't worry about it. Okay, so I'm just going to add a little bit of this 565 into the truck. And this is optional, you don't have to do this. I just think it adds just a little bit more dimension. Okay, so now that I've got this in, I can bring in just a little bit of water and blend it out just ever so slightly. And if you're brand new to the truck and you're not sure how to get, how to color it, I would suggest not doing the second step and just doing that really light blue or a brown until you start feeling more comfortable with the truck. Okay, once you start feeling comfortable with the truck, then you can put in some of these little extra tidbits. Okay, so we're gonna put in a shadow under here because this is going to be a dark shadow right under the truck. All right. And then if you want to put in a sky, I know lots of you like a cute little sky in here. I do too. It's not that you do and I don't, I also do. So I'll put this in and I'll take that 526 that I used for the truck. And when you use the same color, it already looks really nice and it fits well. The continuity is there. Okay, looks cohesive. That's what I was looking for. Do you know when you're looking for a word and you're like, I know this word? Okay, I'm just dropping in this little sky, just a little sky. It doesn't need to be anything, you know, big. Okay. Yes, Barbara. She says, I always forget you can leave things like tall grass without water. It looks so good. It does, especially when you have already added a lot of water to your foliage and your flower. So like my grass, I've really taken out a lot of the integrity of the lines when I add that water. So when you leave some of these detailed little blades, it just adds a lot to it. It brings back the structure of the grass, even if it's just a little bit up in here. You know, details are always really good. So good point. Thank you. Okay, so we are going to sign our work. And my little name right here, 21, so that I can look back and be like, oh, I did this in 2021. And, you know, see how my style has changed. So now I'm going to flip the camera back around and I will say my goodbyes to you all. Oops, just give me 1 second here. Hello. Okay, thank you so much for joining me today. I so appreciate you guys. Just a quick recap. We did the truck. We used the truck set, the 5011 watercolor mini truck set, which is this one. Okay. And then also the watercolor mini flower set, which was 5009. That's this one, and I used this flower, which was so cute in there. And then I also used 3 stamps from the watercolor foliage set 3, which was these 3 in the center. And if you don't have that one, totally fine, because all that you need is in foliage set 1. Okay, so I used this grass, but you could easily have used this vine here, okay? So thank you everybody for joining me. If you can't get enough, there is a very exciting something tomorrow on Watercolor Wednesday with the Queen Bee herself. So she is going to be letting you in on the new release tomorrow. So definitely don't miss it. You want to be there. If you want to rewatch this, we will post here on Facebook and also on YouTube. YouTube is a little bit better quality, so if you don't mind the wait, we will post there, okay? Definitely like and subscribe on YouTube and Facebook and Instagram and Pinterest. We have, you know, so much inspiration all over the place. So thank you all for being here. I love you all. Next week we'll be doing the Southwest set. So if you have this one, get it out. We're going to be using a few different greens on that one. Of course, the 565 blue and that 969 brown. So definitely get those out. I love you all, and I'll see you next week. Mwah! Bye.